There's something so magical about watching the weather change. The rain fading away, the mist moving through the trees, and the sunshine rolling over the hills. Even on grey days, the forest is beautiful. There were slow mornings, peaceful cups of coffee in the fresh air with nothing but the sound of a stream and the chattering of birds. The days were filled with reading sessions in the evening sun, long hikes through forests and valleys, and inspiring encounters that filled me with childlike wonder every single day. There are so many magical moments I will never forget. Like that time I discovered the hiding place of a little fawn waiting for its mom. I had passed her on my way uphill. She had startled me by crying out. If she had stayed quiet, I would have never even known she was there. So on the way back, I made sure to be super calm and quiet. And after a quick peek, made sure to quickly move on and leave her in peace. My time in the forests of Schwarzwald was everything I had hoped for and more. I recorded the second part of this video last month, in my last week in Germany. And I hope you will enjoy hearing a bit more about the things I loved in June. Hey you, welcome to my channel, A Year and a Day. My name is Jenny and I am currently recording this in Schwarzwald. And if you've seen some of my previous videos, you might have noticed that I wasn't able to shut up about Schwarzwald. And that's because it was a pretty big and exciting adventure for me. At the start of 2024, I decided to go on a workation. I had been longing for the forest for a long time, and going on a holiday once or twice a year wasn't really cutting it anymore for me. So I decided to get creative and figure out a way to make it happen, which eventually led me to travel to the German Schwarzwald at the end of May, where I would be living and working for almost 6 weeks. At the time of me recording this, I have been staying here for 4.5 weeks. And in exactly 1 week time, I will travel back home to the Netherlands. It is currently a very rainy and grey Sunday afternoon. The lighting is pretty crappy, but I decided to start recording anyway. Mainly because I really felt like recording my June video here in Schwarzwald. Now, I don't have a lot of things to show about June. I already showed a lot of the things that I was bringing with me in my random ramblings about Schwarzwald. And I will link those videos down below. But let me quickly go over a few of the books that I've read while I was here and show you a few pages of my sketchbooks. The first book I read was The Amulet, written by Simone van der Vlucht. She is a Dutch author, which is the reason why I am reading this one in Dutch. And another reason for that is that this is actually a book that I got when I was 11 years old. And this is the actual copy that I got back then. It is about a girl living in the Middle Ages, and her mother was burned as a witch, and she too is suspected of witchcraft. Now this book is actually set in Germany, and a part of it is even set in Schwarzwald. Better yet, the little village that is mentioned here in the book is actually pretty close by to where I'm staying at the moment. This was a very quick and easy read, but also a very beautiful story. And I can completely imagine me being so absolutely captivated by this book as a child. So I'm very happy that I brought this one with me to Schwarzwald, and I'm very happy that I was able to read it again, but now as an adult. And that's The Amulet by Simone van der Vlucht. The second book I read was Juniper by Monica Verlong. This was also a book I read when I was about 11 years old, but back then I read it in Dutch. Again, this is a book about witchcraft, which was kind of one of my special interests when I was a young girl. And again, I was very curious to find out how I would read this one as an adult. This is a book about a girl who is sent away by her parents to go live with a woman who teaches her how to be a witch. And it was actually the book that I based my channel name on, because the period of time that she is living with that woman is a year and a day. For me, that phrase stands for deep learning and wisdom, and never being done with learning, and embracing the process that goes with that. This one has even more layers about witchcraft and herbs and magic. It was a beautiful story and a lovely read. And I'm currently reading the sequel to this book called Wise Child. One of the things that I did this month was keep a little travel journal. Now, I'm not going to show you everything, although it is just basically a day-to-day travel report of the things that I did. I used some stickers and I will be adding some photographs. But I am already so very happy that I decided to just keep track of what I did every day. Because as I so often experience when going on an adventure or a holiday, is how easily you forget all of these little details. In the end, you remember the highlights, but the rest of it kind of blends in together. And that is such a shame. Now, if I want to make maybe a more extensive travel journal, or even illustrate a travel journal about this whole month, then I have these little books to fall back on. Another thing I really enjoyed was using all of the inspiration of the surroundings here in my sketchbooks. I chose to use these watercolor inserts for the Midori Traveler's Notebooks. And I did both sketches in these as well as watercolor painting. And I usually did this by taking a lot of photographs while on my hikes and then going back to my sketchbooks once I was back home. I also experimented a bit with using markers, which is a very unforgiving medium, but it was kind of fun to work on these and just go with the flow and not being able to correct any mistakes or anything. There was no sketching, it was just using the markers and see what happens, and trying to kind of capture the essence of certain flowers. I also did some sketches on black woodpeckers. These are such beautiful birds, and you see them here in Schwarzwald quite a lot. You also hear them quite a lot, and the funny thing is I even heard them last year, but I wasn't sure about what kind of bird I was hearing. I didn't recognize it because I never heard it back home in the Netherlands. And this year I solved the mystery when I was riding my bike and a very cranky woodpecker flew up and made the noise that I had been kind of hearing around a lot in the forest here. I also fell back on one of my biggest loves, which is creating these ink drawings, kind of abstract, based on natural patterns. It's something that I've always loved to do, and it's something that I really lost myself in again during the month of June. This one was actually based on a tree I spotted during one of my hikes. I thought it was so beautiful and I took a picture of it and kind of tried to recreate it loosely. I also did a few other experiments. And I was able to start a new journal as well, and I decided to continue with the ink drawings. I do not view myself as an artist at all. I think drawing is one of the most difficult things, but somehow there is this deep desire within me that really wants to visualize all these beautiful things that I notice in the world. And it can be very, very frustrating and annoying to never really get across what I am trying to portray. But this is also something that I'm trying to work on. And it's something that I'm trying to make fun again for myself by really focusing more on the energy that I'm trying to capture instead of the actual result. And being super perfectionistic about that and killing all the joy of it. So a little spread like this was a lot of fun, and it just really made me very happy in the end. I also worked on this little sketch of the house that I'm staying in, and I'm thinking about leaving this one for the owners. And I'm also working again on making a few more tree inspired drawings as well. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble about Schwarzwald once again. I was a little bit worried that I was beginning to bore you with all this Schwarzwald talk, but at the same time it felt only right to record this video about June while I'm still here in the forest. Returning back home to the Netherlands will be kind of a challenge. It is a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling when you have so much to be thankful for, but still you feel like something's missing. It is something that I have been feeling for quite a while now, and I'm so happy that I was able to travel here to Schwarzwald and spend a longer period of time here. To take on the challenge to be by myself doing that, by not being afraid of the quiet, but embracing it. And I truly wish I could sit here and say that I have all the answers now, but I don't. Honestly, I had not expected that I would. I think I might even have more questions now than I had before this whole adventure. And that's okay. I realize that's all part of the process of getting to know yourself better and trying to move forward to that pure version of yourself that's hiding somewhere deep inside. That's kind of the process that I'm in right now, and that I will continue to be in for quite a long time, I expect. But that's exactly the process that I want to embrace and honor by making these videos and sharing them here on my channel. That never-ending cycle of lessons and questions and joy and heartache. I really appreciate you traveling along with me and connecting with me here in this little part of the internet. If you have any questions or want to know more about certain things, feel free to let me know. So with all of that being said, I wish you all a lovely rest of your day or night, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!